Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Titans Tube. This is a very special episode today because we have a guest today, a special guest who is probably pretty reluctant to be here, but he's our first guest who isn't either my wife or my dog. Please welcome Mr. Paul Kuharsky to the show.
Thank you, sir.
Greetings. Nice introduction. Thank you.
You are so welcome, Paul. Paul, thanks for being on the show.
I'm not here against my will.
We talked about holding him at gunpoint, but
some people thought that I might be coming into a kidnapping situation. So
did Hutton think that?
I told people where I am. They know if they don't hear from me in about an hour to send
the cops.
Yeah. I know a young man that actually goes to elementary school here.
Oh, okay.
My son's best friend. So
gotcha.
I've got a network.
A little familiar.
An Amber Alert type thing for an adult.
Okay. Yeah. Everyone,
not a bad idea.
We all ignore those anyway. So
really like the headwear. This is a good look. The headwear.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. Of course. So yeah,
but this green screen, crazy stuff's going to show up on the green screen, right?
Yeah. Who knows? We could put anything back there.
Wow, that's gonna. I have nothing to do with anything that's on that green screen.
Well, no, we will approve Paul of everything here.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, okay. Well, let's get started.
Fancy scripts there.
Hey.
How do you decide who's home and who's away, jersey-wise?
We have a meeting.
This is my only jersey I have. So it's by default.
Quarterbacks, past and present. I'm trying not to take over. Go ahead.
No, we encourage, please. But before we do start, we did want to kind of give a little bit of background on you and us, because we're virtually very much strangers. This is the first time we've ever met. So, a little bit about you, Paul. I do want to read some stats.
First off, speaking of Titans jerseys, you didn't bring one, because that is a requirement to be on the show. You don't own a Titans jersey.
No, we are absolutely prepared for situations like these.
Look at this.
Sir, you can rock the McNair jersey. I've got CJ2K.
First off, this McNair jersey looks very, very gray. It looks like it's actually played in by Steve McNair.
I might have stolen it from his house.
Do you know how much that's worth?
Very gray. How much is that worth?
I don't want to find out, because it'll never be sold.
Okay.
Yeah, you will never see me in a jersey, because I'm not a jersey guy, and you will never see me in Titans clothing.
So he's not going to.
Okay, you know what? We'll let that one slide. We'll let it slide. Okay. You can wear your really monotone dirt-colored shirt.
Dirt color? This is green. Look what it does for my eyes. Get a close-up on that. Can you zoom in, cameraman?
Okay. Anyways, back to the breaking the ice.
It's like between two ferns, except that they're not ferns, and I'm not between them.
In post-production, we'll just throw a Titans jersey on. So we'll do that. Okay.
That's not me.
Okay. We're totally going to do that. Anyway, so for the stats here, Mr. Paul Kuharsky, you are well accomplished. You come from a long background of journalism. You have a master's of journalism. Graduated from Columbia. You start twice. Impressive.
You started twice. No,
is that because you failed once?
No, undergrad and then graduate.
Okay.
For you guys, it would be like middle school and high school.
Hey,
I didn't graduate high school.
He's speaking on our level.
He's above me.
Yes, absolutely. And then you started working, covering the team since 1996. You worked for the Tennessean. That's when you started.
I did.
I hope that.
I actually covered the 1995 Raiders, 1996 Oilers, and then 1997 here.
Gotcha. So you do have the full transition from Houston to Tennessee Oilers.
Yes, I spent time in Houston courtrooms looking at the Oilers brass, negotiating their way out of their lease with the Astrodome.
You need to write a book.
No, it's really not that interesting.
Well, I'm interested.
That part, certainly.
Keep going.
Anyway, also part of the stats, you have 90,000 plus Twitter followers.
You're trying to cut me down to 40?
No, because it's my next stat here. 40,000 plus followers on your Periscope account.
Whoa. Is that right? I didn't even know the Periscope number.
That's what I found on your.
My attendance at Periscope then isn't as good as I would hope, percentage-wise, based on what I've been getting.
You don't get the full 40,000 each time.
They're not all there. We'll come on, people.
Well, that's for me. I mean, sometimes I go back and watch after.
No, I need you to lie.
So, I miss out on the questions. But continuing with your stats here, you are part of the Midday 180, one of the highest rated sports talk shows in the country. So that is very impressive. You are also a former beat writer for ESPN.com covering the Tennessee Titans.
Recently
keyword former.
Recently former.
But that could maybe a good thing, because that led to the founding of this brand spanking new website, paulkuharsky.com.
I hear this thing that if one door closes, somebody told me, I'd never heard it before, they just told me recently, if one door closes, another door opens.
Huh.
And so I'm thinking the PaulKuharsky.com door is now open.
Is that science? One door
Some
closed.
sort of yin and yang.
Yeah,
Yin and yang, the yin yang.
Hey, I'm all about that, though. That's exciting stuff. And also, let's not forget to mention that you actually have a Hall of Fame vote for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So, pretty impressive. So, that's what we have for you, Caleb. What do we have going for
We're
us?
actually going to the Hall of Fame, by the way, Midday 180 tomorrow after the show. We will be going to the airport, and we will be broadcasting from the Hall of Fame on Friday, the day before.
You don't have to listen to
go.
that because this isn't the Midday 180 here. And back to us, Paul. Okay, so we have 498 Twitter followers, soon to be 499.
Yeah, right.
Do you think I'm following?
Follow us on Twitter. Anyways, and the big stat here, we have over 1,500 YouTube subscribers, which last time I checked is at least 1,500 more than you have.
Yeah, I'm not a YouTube
So
guy.
got them there. Yes, good.
Not
Good
a
job.
YouTube guy.
Don't we also have a Hall of Fame vote, though?
I know you guys said that YouTube isn't the only something site that you guys spend time at, I would suspect.
Oh,
That is over my head.
Hey, no, boy.
If that's about porn, then I don't know. But no, we don't have a Hall of Fame vote.
Oh.
Okay. But anyways,
could've
besides,
sworn.
let's put aside the credentials because we do have something that you don't have. And that is a deep, passionate love that's Tennessee Titans.
So you
Our
can't-
spirit runs two-tone blue.
You can't measure that.
Our love for the team is so deep it would even make Mrs. Kuharsky swoon. That's
yeah,
bold
man,
words.
she's,
And so, no one
she's
is as
tough to-
passionate, faithful, or frankly as biased as we are about the team. I mean, I haven't taken off this Mario jersey since we drafted him.
I can smell it down here. I can account for that.
Yeah,
I can attest to that.
I've gotten used to it at this point, so it's okay. And as for me, I used to cry after every time we lost until I was like 14. So
This guy during the Wizard Hunt years was crying constantly.
no,
He never stopped crying.
No,
Yeah,
at this
still
point
cry.
I just pout. But
So that means
no.
he thinks you're like 16. That's even funnier. Okay, enough of this.
How old are you?
Let's get into
That's
some Titans
confidential.
talk. Okay, that's why you're here, right?
All right, yeah, let's go.
Okay,
That's a big preamble. It's moderately amusing.
Well, you're a big guy. You know, your head is very shiny. So we.
I have makeup in my bag in the car still, and I thought about bringing it in, maybe even putting it on, but my
Some
vision's
powder
bad enough
your
that I
head.
can't really see it on there. But I'm not ashamed to put makeup
We'll
on that.
put a
dome.
hat on in post production too, just like that. Bam.
We're gonna
He's
deck
got
you
the
out
hat.
in all
You look
Titans
great.
gear.
Okay,
It's
let's
gonna
get
be
right into it. We want to start talking about Corey Davis. Obviously, he was our 5th overall pick this year. Wide receiver out of Western Michigan. Very highly productive guy out of college. We just signed him, so he missed the first day of training camp, but he's back. I kind of want to make an analogy towards the old '99 team, if you remember that team. We had just come off 3 straight years of being 8-8, and in 1999 we drafted Javon Kearse, the freak, 16th overall. And as Blaine Bishop said multiple times, that Javon Kearse was kind of the missing link that kind of propelled that team to kind of push them over the hump. That year we ended up going 13-3, made the Super Bowl, and kind of kick-started what us Titans fans call the glory days. So I'm wondering, what do you think? Do you think Corey Davis could kind of be that missing link to the team? Because we haven't had like a weapon like him, especially in the receiving game for a while.
Put the offense over the edge. Put the offense over the edge, so to speak, as Javon Kearse kind of put the defense over the edge from a mediocre team.
There are a lot of teams that have trouble spots where they simply can never really solve it. Jaguars are going through this on the offensive line. You go back a couple years, they drafted Luke Jokel, and he didn't pan out. You go a couple years before that, they spent their 1st and 2nd round draft picks on Eugene Monroe and Evan Britton, right? Those are supposed to be bookend tackles for at least 5 years with their offensive line not in question. Neither of them really paying out on a broad scale. Britton certainly not. Monroe not long enough for them. So they're constantly working on offensive line. Titans have been constantly working on receiver like that forever. Who have they developed? Derek Mason, who was drafted when you kids were in elementary school, right?
Yes.
Drafted 97. He was drafted as an Oiler. Drew Bennett, who developed nicely, but then went to a big contract in St. Louis and kind of disappeared. So. I mean, they've really changed what they're looking for with John Robinson in terms of what they want in receivers. Gone are the days of the athleticism wowing them of a Justin Hunter or Dorial Green Beckham. And in come a couple guys that they think are far more capable of being the exacting, precise kind of guys that they want in Corey Davis, in Taywan Taylor, in a veteran version in Eric Decker. I mean, Davis didn't do a lot in minicamp because he was still recovering from the ankle. He didn't run a 40 at the combine, so he didn't have a dazzling number to slobber over, so to speak. If he is what they think he can be, and I don't know how immediate it is. Receivers take time. I think that's not a bad analogy. I mean, that 98 team was lacking a dynamic pass rusher. Kearse was a dynamic pass rusher on day one. Now the question is, can Davis be dynamic from day one? Can Frisman Jackson be Jim Washburn? A lot of things have to fall in place for him to be. And I don't know that they're as singularly reliant on Davis as 99 team was on Kearse to be that X factor, because Taywan Taylor could be some of it.
Oh, yeah.
Because Eric Decker can be some of it. So there's a much more dynamic pool. But honestly, I had not thought of it that way, and that's not a bad way to look at it if you're trying to paint an optimistic scenario.
It's like
Compliment number one.
Right, all right.
Well,
let's build.
Well, I was going to say that. Do you think he has less pressure on his shoulders because we brought in people like Taywan Taylor, Eric Decker, who a lot of people compared Corey Davis to coming into the draft? Kind of
there maybe is a little less of a ticking clock, but you're the 5th pick in the draft. You got to come in and make an impact right out of the gate. If you don't, the early buzz is disappointment about your inability to do that. It's not quite the same at quarterback, but if you come in and you don't play well at the beginning, all the talk then is about you not playing well at the beginning. Then you have to mentally overcome all. It gets more complicated than it needs to be. 5th pick in the draft. If John Robinson thinks the guy's worth the 5th pick in the draft, he should be an impact guy day one. Now, I'm not saying that means 3 touchdowns week 1 or draft him in the first round of your fantasy draft. Sure. But I would expect within a month or 6 weeks that he has a bearing on coverage, and that's what the Titans need, is a receiver who's going to draw some coverage, that opens things up for the run game, that lets the slot guy and the other guy get in one-on-one situations, and then there's a trickle-down effect on other players, and it's not just Corey Davis stat-wise.
Right. That makes sense.
Good points.
He could make that kind of impact, but maybe not on the stat sheet. He's not going to put up the equivalent of 14.5 sacks, what Javon Kearse did his rookie year.
Well, he doesn't play on the defensive side either.
He's
definitely not going to put up the sacks.
I would put him down for 0 sacks. There's a stat prediction for you.
You don't get predictions.
I don't. So you know how confident I feel.
Yeah,
Mike Malarkey said the other day that Z receivers, I don't know if he was speaking generally or about his offense, are generally going to be more productive. That's Rashard Matthews, not Corey Davis. And it sounds to me like that would mean, if things came out the way they figure, Matthews would have more catches, that kind of production. You would figure Davis, as the X, would have more yards per catch, more the big play guy.
Gotcha. So
interesting.
Yeah, they would probably make things more easier for Matthews than this year, as it was last year. Matthews was
more easy or easier, but not more easy.
Look,
my grammar,
we did not
my
major
education
in journalism.
I didn't go to
school.
I'm helping out when I can.
School is not a place for smart people.
I'll tell you how I feel about school, Jerry. It's a waste of time. I mean, it's not a place for smart people, Jerry.